For years, I went through what I would call the broke cycle, where I would make a good amount of money, say I'm never going broke again, and then somehow go broke again and repeat that over and over and over again. I just couldn't figure it out. It got to a point where I just believed that that was the natural wave of money. You have seasons where you're making a lot of it, and then you have seasons where you're making little to none. And while this is true, the thing that was keeping me broke is exactly what I'm gonna share in this video today. Now, I don't know about y'all, but the relief you feel at the end of the month after paying all of your bills is like a top 10 relief, especially when you felt like you were not going to be able to do that throughout the month. That relief feels so good that even when you don't have any money left over for anything, you're okay with that. But that's the problem. Let me put this into perspective. If you didn't have enough money to pay your rent, you would hustle hard to pay it. You get creative on how you can make that money, you put in overtime, and you'll get it done at all costs. Because at the end of the day, who's gonna be homeless if they have the means to not be, right? On the other hand though, if you already had your rent paid, but you only had $100 to your name to eat for the rest of the week, you will relax and be okay with that. No big deal. My bills are paid, no need to save any money, no need to enjoy life at all. I'll do better on my next paycheck, hopefully. Then this cycle essentially repeats itself. The book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz taught me my very first lesson about money, and that's pay yourself first. Every time you get paid, pay yourself however much you decide is suitable first. Before your bills, before your food budget, before everything. Now I know how absurd this sounds, but if you don't have enough money to pay your rent, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna get creative on how you can make that money. You're gonna put in overtime. You're gonna get it done at all costs. And you don't even necessarily have to spend that money that you're paying yourself. Just take it out of the equation. This simple thing changed my mental shift so much and motivated me like never before. It can be hard for us to come through for ourselves sometimes. We go hard every single month to make sure our bills get paid, yet we're okay with slacking off on our savings and even down to skip a few meals. Why not go hard and make sure we get the money we deserve? This lesson really made me realize not only was I being modest about the amount of money I could be making, but I also had really great monetization ideas within me that didn't really activate until I felt I needed to make money. You should absolutely be the first person enjoying your money every single time. But what happens when you start enjoying your money too much? Whenever it was time for me to buy anything, my process of seeing if I could afford it was open up my phone, open up my banking account, look at the available balance and being like, oh, I got $4,000. I'm good. Swipe it. The problem was I wasn't accounting for everything coming out of my account. My phone bill, my card payment, my upcoming credit card payment, what I plan for savings, taxes. The next powerful lesson I learned from the book Profit First was don't keep all of your money in one place. I literally just used to have a PayPal account and a checking account. I used to think people who had 4, 5, 6 different accounts were madmen. Like, why the hell would anybody do this? The great thing about this though is it gives you an accurate look at your finances. And sometimes this is painful to see. When you have an account specifically for spending, for savings, for taxes, for bills, you can see that you actually only have $45 to spend instead of $4,000. And this goes back to the last lesson. Actually seeing you don't have any money motivates you to make more. If you open up your banking app and you see in one account you have an enormous amount of money, you are 100% going to find something to spend it on every time. It's like when you used to get cash for your birthday as a kid and you would try to find any way to spend it. My mom used to say that money just burning a hole in your pocket. This lesson right here did eventually unlock for so much for me financially. But it was one problem. I didn't know how much money I should be putting away for saving, how much money I should be putting away for taxes, how much money I should be paying myself. We all know that we should be saving, but thinking it and actually doing it are two drastically different things. The concept of saving money always overwhelmed me, mainly because I was prioritizing my bills getting paid. And let's be honest, it's always easy for us to feel like we have forever to do it. I'll put some money away on my next check. Man, I used to stay broke. And I eventually got fed up with never having money for emergencies. And this is when I learned my next lesson. If I don't automate it, it's never gonna get done. I learned this the hard way so many times, and ultimately, this is how I got behind on taxes early in my creative journey. On the last lesson, I spoke briefly about how much money you should be putting into your different accounts. It's important to note that this will not work for everybody and you gotta experiment, but this is how I started out. The book Profit First gave me a really great baseline of percentages for allocating my paychecks. Every time I got paid, this is how I split up the payment for each account I had. 35% would go into taxes, 40% would go into bills and business operating expenses, 10% is what I was paying myself, 10% I was also using for investing and saving, and then 5% I was putting towards debt. Now, if you're anything like me, looking at these percentages off rip, you're probably thinking, man, 10% is not enough. I know I can save 30% of my money. It's important to start off modest and ease into these things though, because you'll eventually find out what can and can't work. And then from there, you just adjust the percentages as you go on. This all sounds like a great plan in theory, but like I said, I realized if I didn't automate this process, I was never gonna do it. One of the easiest ways you can automate your business cash flow is with the Found app. Found is a banking app designed for solo entrepreneurs and small business owners that offers tons of tools to manage your business finances all in one app. You can automatically track and categorize expenses, auto-save for estimated taxes, and send unlimited custom invoices, all within the same app as your business checking account. My favorite thing about this app has to be the Pockets feature. You can set up custom sub-accounts called Pockets to automatically allocate a specific percentage of your income towards different business expenses. Truly an all-in-one platform to do it all. Found has no hidden fees, no minimum balance, and no mandatory monthly fees. If you're self-employed or a small business owner and you want to make managing your business finances easier and cheaper, check out the Found app now using the link in the description below. We're already thinking a million different things on a daily basis as creative people. Automating where the money should go made my life 10 times easier, and I actually started to save money, which is crazy. Even though it may sound like I just up and read all these things in a book and poof, my life changed, it was something bigger that I actually had to climb before all of this stuck. One of the most fascinating things that I've read about finances comes from one of my favorite books, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It reads, doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. Morgan then goes on to detail how an extremely rich technology executive who excessively spends his funds eventually goes broke. Meanwhile, a janitor who worked at JCPenney for 17 years left $8 billion to his family, all by living simple and making simple investments. In what other industry does someone with no college degree, no training, no background, no formal experience, and no connections massively outperform someone with the best education, the best training, and the best connections? It isn't many. Money isn't as analytical as it seems. Like, we can all get told the best money plays to make, like real estate, stocks, bonds, whatever the case may be. But ultimately, what we really need to learn is how to behave with money. Me being a person who didn't grow up with much money, when I got my first taste of it, I wanted to buy all of the meaningless things that I always wanted. I'm gonna buy the nicest pair of shoes. I'm gonna buy the car I always wanted. I'm gonna treat everybody around me the best way that I possibly can. These are the things that I had to get over in order for this information to truly stick with me. In order for you to become someone with money, you have to behave like someone who's trying to have money. And buying a lot of meaningless things that will never make me money back was not how someone trying to build actual wealth would act. This lesson not only stuck with me, but it discouraged me for a while because of all the bad things I was buying. But this next lesson taught me something that we all need to know. Here's another incredible excerpt from The Psychology of Money. People from different generations, raised by different parents, who earned different incomes and held different values, in different parts of the world, born into different economies, different degrees of luck, learn very different lessons. This right here taught me to be less judgmental about what people do with their money. People do a lot of crazy things with money, but nobody is crazy. It can be easy to judge a person spending their last dime on a lottery ticket and think, that's insane. But in reality, we don't know what that person's upbringing was like and their overall knowledge of money. Maybe they think, I already don't have any money. I might as well try this as an opportunity to get more. We've all realistically spent money on things that are insane. But in that moment, all of the stars align for us to make that purchase, and it's no different than someone who we might be judging. Don't beat yourself up over what you've done in the past with money that feels crazy to you now. Make the correction moving forward and do things with money that ultimately align with where you like to see yourself in the future. Man, I gotta be honest, man. This video feels extremely weird, and this was one of the harder ones for me to film. I'm getting used to being on camera and like talking head situations again because I'm usually out in the field trying to find good compositions. So yeah, if you took anything away from this video, drop it a like. It's definitely one of the more difficult ones for me to go through. I tried to film this probably like 8 times and I actually hate it right now, but we'll see how it turns out in the end. All right, I'm out though. Peace.